Hello, welcome to Mama Bear Diaries. This is Deborah Giesling, and I was taking a chance and not playing the intro music, and I don't know, I kind of miss it. So I don't know. I'll see how this sounds. Tell me if you like the music that I'm playing on my phone, because Substack doesn't have a way for me to kind of integrate that unless I use another uh, software tool, and I just don't have the capacity for that. It's me, Deborah, here in my house. Uh, so I'm doing the best I can. So anyway, welcome. This is episode number 5, primer number 5, and I want to piggyback on what I talked about last time, which is where do the seriously mentally ill live? Where do they get care? And one huge policy piece that I have not mentioned yet, which is very important, and I'm just going to spend this short time talking about it. It's called the IMD exclusion. And this is a policy that was put back in place, again, with good intentions. We're going to move everybody back into the community, back in the 1950s, 60s. Because the asylums, there was all these reports coming about how bad they weren't all bad. So rather than kind of take a look at that and let's make them better, let's bring accountability, let's do some innovative things, we just decided it's a great idea to move everyone into the community and close those institutions. So part of that great idea was this federal policy, and it's called the whole name. Let me get you the whole name of it. It's called the IMD stands for Institutions for Mental Diseases Exclusion. And so a federal policy came about in 1965 within Medicaid. And what it does is it prohibits Medicaid, and pay attention to this because this is really still happening. It prohibits Medicaid from covering care in psychiatric hospitals with more than 16 beds for individuals aged 21 to 64. You heard that right. Okay, we're going to move everyone in the community. We're going to motivate the government to do this by limiting our payment to hospitals if they have 16 beds or more. Okay, so what disease, what disability, what other category do we do this for? Think about that. Do we do that for heart disease? Do we limit payments if a hospital has 16 beds for hospital patients? Up, that's too many. So what that did was it incentivized the state again and the federal government, this hot potato. We're going to close down the hospitals. We're going to make smaller hospitals. We're going to, so it was a great idea, great intention, but never followed through and never updated with the population and the needs that we have right now. And so where we are currently is no one wants to touch the IMD exclusion because they're saying it's going to take money away from all these other areas. It's not, we're going to have to pay more. So we've tucked those people, the severely mentally ill, over here in criminal justice. We've tucked them out to the streets, they're unseen. So let's just not mess with status quo because it's going to cost too much money. And so there have been attempts over the years to adjust either that number. I know there was a bill the past 2 years, but it really never got any traction to kind of let's put that number instead of 16, let's put it at 32. We'll give some grace there. Different states, you can apply for waivers for your hospital. I know some hospitals have waivers, but if you hear on the news, everybody gets excited about, oh, we're putting in this new, private hospital over here, this new mental health hospital over here. Those are all smaller, private boutique hospitals, and for the most part, they do not take the sickest mentally ill. They don't take the court-ordered patients. So what are we doing? We're letting this happen. So this is something I'm not going to be quiet about. I know there's just a battle. There's three camps here. There's the Democrats, the Republicans, and then there's the Libertarians. The Libertarians are kind of like, let's free up everything. Let's live and let live. Let live and let live. Let's not mess with court order treatment. They're happy to have these groups tucked away. No one wants to deal with it for political reasons. And so that's where advocacy comes in. These individuals don't have a voice. So guess who has to be the voice? The family members, the caregivers, the people who see this. We've got to speak up. And what happens, I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I tend to try to find ways that I can advocate in my history, try to figure out where can I best advocate, where can I best use my time. And a lot of times I spent a lot of times early on going to all these conferences, meeting with people, kind of getting a feel for where could we advocate. I went to some NAMI support groups, and they said the next phase of your process in processing out your son or daughter has a serious mental illness, and you want to get involved, is advocacy. Well, nobody was really advocating. The only advocacy I saw was people going down to the legislature and watching meetings and saying, hey, we want more money. Well, throwing money at this problem is not going to work. And also what happens is when you start becoming a squeaky wheel, you start making connections, and you start making headway, everybody wants to kind of pull you in these different directions. Yeah, let's collaborate, let's work together, we will support you. But guess what happens? What always happens, I've seen it over and over, your advocacy gets watered down. They don't want you to focus. They don't want you to focus on these individuals, because they don't want their piece of pie. They don't want anybody taken from their piece of pie. They want to protect their interest. And that's the reality of it. Dr. Fuller Torrey talks about that in the back of the book I mentioned a few podcasts ago. Surviving schizophrenia, you end up getting taken over by the agencies, the bureaucratic agencies who come at you, and then all the different peer groups and even NAMI itself. It's just really gotten watered down. And a lot of the focus and attention gets on people that can advocate for themselves, because you can see them, they can speak for themselves. Our sons and daughters, our moms and dads, brothers and sisters can't speak for themselves. So it's family members. We're the ones that have got to speak up. And I was at a meeting, I'm kind of fired up about this. I was at a meeting online the other night where someone came and kind of gave an update on what's going on with the budget federally. And I was so frustrated, because it was just basically fear mongering. They were fear mongering the people that were on this, the families that were representing the seriously mentally ill, and just it became very obvious that there was a political motivation behind it, of who to support and who not to support, though it wasn't said. There was no facts given, just, oh my goodness, clinics are going to close, the hospitals are going to close, your loved one's not going to be able to get help here, so call your congressman. That sounds good, but we got to put our thinking caps on here, and we got to protect this cause. And so you kind of got to be fierce about it. And if that means that you don't look nice and you don't appear nice is not advocacy. Nice is not advocacy. I mean, think about the Native Americans. How did that work out for them? By compromising. They were the ones that they didn't have a leg to stand on. This is the group we're talking about, the seriously mentally ill. They don't have a leg to stand on. We've got to be the voice for them. And we've got to be savvy, and we've got to be strong and consider compromise. We're always the ones that are asked to compromise. And then you've got things in place like the IMD exclusion that blatantly discriminate against the seriously mentally ill, and we're supposed to compromise? Are you kidding me? Don't apologize for your advocacy. It's not mean. It's actually very godly, and it's right, and it's loving. You are speaking up for somebody who has no leg to stand on, politically or financially, powerfully, nothing. There's no popularity contest here. This group, the people with the severe mental illnesses, are completely ignored, and everyone, all the politicians are happy. Even the peer groups and the organizations that claim to help want to help you and want to work and collaborate with you, they are happy to keep them tucked in, and they'll give on a few things here and there. But why do you and me have to compromise when our loved ones are getting pushed out? They're totally pushed out and ignored. So anyway, I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, and I'm not going to close with my outro music, but do a little bit of research on the IMD exclusion. There is only maybe one or two organizations, Treatment Advocacy Center. I saw the Cures Foundation they're doing a podcast or some kind of webinar on the IMD exclusion. There's very few people that are advocating for this, and we need more people to advocate for it. So anyway, I'm here because of my brown eyes, who I love, and I'm not going to give up and going to keep going on. And thanks for listening. And let me know, do you want me to put back the music or not? Thanks for listening.